Hi, I'm Johnny Brownlee
I'm Alex Yee.
I'm George Taylor-Brown.
I'm Sophie Coldwell.
and we're doing Unfiltered with Team England.
Being selected for the Commonwealth Games, the fact that it's a home Commonwealth Games is even more exciting because all my family and friends can be there that wouldn't usually be able to watch me in a race.
I really feel like a product of the 2012 Olympics, and that being a home games and having that on my doorstep was incredibly special.
I was out in Gold Coast in 2018 and I definitely went, and that was a learning experience for me, and going into this games I hopefully can put myself in with a shot of winning a medal.
First memory of my sport, I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I remember grabbing water from a marshal and thinking I was an elite athlete because I was grabbing water from the side of the field.
I remember trying to ride up a hill on my bike, and I couldn't do it, and I remember that desire to just go back and try and achieve that.
My mum saw a local children's triathlon race round in one of my mum's t-shirts, and she'd put some toggles off a jumper in my shoes and had a very heavy mountain bike at the time.
Nicknames, I used to be Baby G, but then I got older, so no one will call me that anymore, which is a shame.
My favourite is probably Bucko, who's one of the support staff. He calls me Bruce, like Bruce Lee, but he calls me Bruce Yee, so I think that's quite funny.
When I was younger, well really young, my first swimsuit had melons on it and I was quite a fat baby. So I was Squidgy Melon, Sophie Ellen, so they call me Squidge.
My advice to my younger self would be just to believe in yourself, trust in the process, and just keep chipping away, and yeah, anything's possible. Never put a limit on yourself.
Make sure you take it all in and you appreciate the good times.
Keep it simple, I mean, don't overthink things, enjoy it while you can.
Who will you bring it home for? My grandma is absolutely massive for me. She is the world's most determined lady, and she's always there inspiring me day to day.
Probably going to say I'm going to bring it home for my dog because I think this could be the first triathlon that he's watched me in. It will just put a smile on my face in the race.
You know, my mum sacrificed so much for me growing up. I'd love to bring it home for her.
The London 2012 Olympics really inspired me, and I'd hope I can do the same for people back home in England, but also in South London more personally.